Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Wake and Take. It's your boy Jason, and we've got some football to talk about today. Today, we're going to give you some of my top reactions to yesterday's action. Had some football happen. Now it's time for some football reacting. Guys, go ahead, take out your coffee, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. All right. Welcome in, everyone. Good morning to you, Alex, Donald, Trip, Mark, Bach, Applied Literature, Ryan. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It's been I'll say week 3 was a weird one for you, boy. Week 3, not very happy with it. There was some good games, don't get me wrong, but none of the fantasy points came to me. I don't know if you guys have this, but I feel like there's always one week, maybe 2 a year, where you just lose every fantasy football matchup. I lost in like all 18 of my leagues. Like, how does that even happen? All 18 of them. And it wasn't even like, it was like all of my players across every league decided to just have a bad game this week. So kind of disappointing for your boy this week. I'm not going to lie, but those weeks happen. And hey, happy to have that happen at the beginning of the year rather than the end, right? So we'll take the L in week 3. And then keep going, because otherwise, I mean, I've been winning pretty much all my matchups up to this week. So just a weird one. I don't know if you guys ever have that. I don't know if that's just me, just a Jason thing. But anyway, every week so far, we've kind of been going game by game, giving my top reactions per game. But this week, I don't know. This week, I feel like we've had, just some more sample size come in. I don't want to keep talking about the same old thing. So this week, I've actually just got a few takeaways from the week. There'll be some games we just don't even talk about, some players we don't even talk about. But we've at least got the big storylines. And at the end of the day, that's what y'all are really here for. Paul says that he has that every week where he loses every fantasy matchup. So shout out, Paul. I hope it gets better for you, man. So anyway, Trip says that was week 1. So it just happens, right? It just happens. Even to the best of us and the worst of us. You just lose games some week, and that's what happens. I see Bach in the chat asking if it's a bad day for JMO. If it's back to last year or just 1 week. Definitely just 1 week. You don't get 20 targets over 2 weeks and then just get completely taken out of the game plan. The Cardinals had a plan for him. Amon-Ra was good. There's no reason that he can't have down weeks. That happens for every wide receiver, right? There's even weeks where Jamar Chase gets like 3 targets. So it's okay. It's just fine. 1 week is down. We'll get it going. But anyway, let's get into the takeaways, guys. But I guess before we get into the takeaways, I want to talk injuries. Just real quick, because we don't know the severity, and we'll definitely talk some more over the week of this, but just these are the injuries that were picked up, so just start monitoring these if you have anyone. Amari Cooper bruised his hip. Darius Slayton picked up a thumb injury. Sam Darnold picked up a knee injury, but did return to the game. Tank Dell picked up a hand injury. Devontae Smith, the Saints attempted murder on him, literally tried to kill Devontae Smith. He has a concussion and will likely be out next week, probably a couple more, depending on how serious this is. Britton Covey picked up a shoulder injury in that same game. Justin Herbert, who we talked about this on the fucking starter sit. Sorry to already drop the F-bomb 4 minutes in, but this pissed me off because we knew it was going to happen. Why? It's like the fantasy gods, and most importantly, it's like Justin Herbert hates himself, right? Why would you play through a high ankle sprain against TJ Watt? I don't care who you are. Honestly, why would you play through a high ankle sprain in general? Okay? And then he does it against TJ Watt and the vaunted Pittsburgh Steelers defense. What does he do? Oh, he re-aggravates his high ankle sprain, and we have to watch Taylor Heineke. I hope Justin Herbert is fine. He's literally one of my favorite players in the league. I love watching him play. He's a stud. But damn it, why would you do that? Why would you play through a high ankle sprain against TJ Watt? So anyway, re-aggravated that. We'll watch the severity. Adam Thielen picked up a hamstring injury on a catch. You rarely see a hamstring injury happen on a catch. Incredible catch, I might add. It was a touchdown grab. Pulls his hamstring while diving for it. Interesting. Brock Bowers picks up a concussion. Skylar Thompson hurt his chest. Tried to return, came back out, got hurt, stayed down. Hopefully he's okay. Sam Laporta picked up an ankle injury, returned. Trey McBride picked up a concussion. We'll see. And then Rashee Rice, he did pick up an injury, didn't return to the game, but it was late. He did pick up his injury late. AJ Terrell kind of tackled him weird, maybe like a shoulder, pulled his arm. I don't know. But Rashee Rice didn't return, but I think it is minor. Andy Reid after the game did say that there are no injuries to report, so he's probably fine. But yeah, Justin Herbert, why do that? Why do that to us? Jim Harbaugh, that is a great point, Bach. Jim Harbaugh, why do that to us? Like, come on. Come on. Low ankle sprain, sure, but high ankle sprain against the Steelers? That was malpractice. That was stupid. It was dumb. I can't even like come up with any reason. Like, I don't like bashing players or coaches for injuries, but Jesus Christ, this one was so avoidable. My God. So anyway, that's that. That's the injuries. Let's get into the takeaways. And I see already the chat talking about this, so we'll jump right into it. This is the biggest takeaway. Malik Nabers right now, guys. Malik Nabers is the wide receiver 1 overall on the season through 3 weeks. 11 points in week 1, 28 points in back-to-back weeks now. And the question has to be, can Malik Nabers save Daniel Jones' job? Let's get into it. Daniel Jones this week, 24-34, 236 pass yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Daniel Jones last week, 16-28, 178 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interception. Malik Nabers in both of those games has scored at least a touchdown over the last 2 weeks, is over 200 receiving yards, 18 receptions, and 3 touchdowns off of 30 targets. It's incredible. It's incredible. I can't mince any words about this. It's incredible. But I do bring back the question, can Malik Nabers save Daniel Jones' job? And the answer to that is still no. The answer to that is still no. Daniel Jones is not going to be a New York Giants quarterback next year. There's no way in hell. I don't care that he's playing well right now. I don't care that they're picking up the wins. Daniel Jones and the Giants, they are parting ways. One reason for this to be the case is the fact, of course, that Daniel Jones has the injury guarantee in his contract. We've seen this kind of play out before with a lot of different quarterbacks, but most recently, Russell Wilson last year on the Broncos, he was playing fine. They were, keeping competitive games. He was doing better than he did the year before. But the injury guarantee on the contract made them kind of bench him and look other ways as they had already decided to move on. Every report that we have been hearing all offseason, even now, right, even through the Hard Knocks, like very recently with the Bears, the Giants Hard Knocks, they're done with Daniel Jones in New York. Heavily invested in every single quarterback at the top of the draft this year. At the UGA Clemson game, we saw Joe Schoen talking to the Bears GM, Brian Poles, and saying, luckily you don't have to scout quarterback anymore at the UGA Clemson game. Like, come on. It's obvious the Giants are looking to move on from Daniel Jones. Can he put together a nice season? It's looking like he can. I did, unfortunately, dump him after week 1 in a fantasy league, and that is looking pretty stupid. I'm not going to lie. That was a week 1 overreaction. Because he is at least going to end up putting up points this week as he continues to just lock on to Malik Nabers. And in this game, he was finding Wan'Dale Robinson as well. Devin Singletary had a great game. And this was against a tough Browns defense. So I really do have to give some flowers to Daniel Jones and this New York Giants team. They're starting to find an identity and they're starting to figure out what works. But as Tripp says in the chat, it's Nabers bailing out Daniel Jones. Your wide receiver can't save a quarterback's job at the end of the day. He can make your quarterback look better, but all the front office is saying is like, oh my God, look at Malik Nabers with Daniel Jones. Imagine what Malik Nabers will do with an actual quarterback. And that is every single conversation going on right now. So again, I do just want to say, if you have Daniel Jones, this is him building his resume for free agency, as the S-Box says in the chat. This is him trying to show NFL teams that he can do a little bit, right? But unfortunately, he's not going to be more than a bridge quarterback anymore. He got his bag. And it was a little bit of a fraudulent bag. It was one really good season. But we saw last year he can put together one game and then look bad the next, right? Like, he's just not a consistent enough quarterback. And the fact that it's taking a Malik Nabers level talent for him to even do this, I think is enough of an indictment. But good to him for not turning the ball over the last couple of weeks, really. Good for him just finding Malik Nabers. Sometimes that's all it takes. So I am curious to see where he ends up. He is not going to be the New York Giants quarterback next year, though. He's not. In fact, I still think he'll be benched this year for Drew Lock. I do. That injury guarantee just leads me to believe that, especially as the season gets more lost over the course of the year. They're not going to keep stringing together these wins. They're just not. Malik Nabers is probably not going to have 28 points very consistently, right? Like, there's going to be a defense that can stop Malik Nabers at some point, as good as he is. So just, if honestly, this is a great point to sell Daniel Jones. Back-to-back great performances. Malik Nabers on fire. See what you can get for him. I am definitely very curious what you can get for this guy right now. I have no idea what it is, right? I have no idea. But in a super flex league, see what you could get. Like, you might be able to get like a Kirk Cousins if you're competing with something on top, really. Like, I don't know. Someone might still be into the youth of Daniel Jones and think he has it, but he doesn't. He doesn't, at least in terms of being on the Giants. He might be on another team next year, but do you really want that? Do you really want that? Like, what does that really mean? What team? Who are his weapons? He's probably just going to lose that job again, too. So I think this is a great getting out point for Daniel Jones if you could do it. Obviously, it all comes down to, your team needs, what you got going on, who you can get, and all that. But now this is two very, very good performances from him and a lot of hype around Malik Nabers. I can't imagine there being a much better off-ramp for a player like Daniel Jones. Even if he keeps playing well, right? He's still like, this is it. Like, this is it, okay? So, anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next takeaway. And this one I hate to even have to ask. And it's not even very analytical. It's kind of analytical. I got to find my overlay. The overlay is missing. But we have to ask ourselves this question. Is Anthony Richardson actually good? I hate putting those words out of my mouth right now, but is Anthony Richardson, like, actually good? Because to me, and this is, I feel so bad saying this, but I feel like when I'm watching Anthony Richardson, I'm watching an 8-year-old play Madden. Like, it's just like, what is he doing there? Through 3 games so far this season, it's not great. It's just not great. You can look at the numbers, okay? Through so far, through what we're looking at right now. He has a 49% completion percentage. He's 36 of 73. He's 583 passing yards through 3 games. He has the 6 passing touchdowns, which is pretty awesome. But again, less than 50% completion percentage. It's miserable. That's just miserable. And then on the ground, 117 rush yards and a touchdown through 3 games off of 18 carries. Like, I don't know. I thought we would have seen some more. And, credit to Anthony Richardson. He has been playing against some tough defenses in back-to-back weeks, especially this week against the Bears. So, and we saw the ceiling in week 1. But, like, man, is it hard to watch Anthony Richardson play football. Good for them pulling out this win. But again, like, he's not completing passes. He can't sustain an alpha. He's not running as much anymore. Jonathan Taylor's doing that. Like, I don't know. I don't know if Anthony Richardson is actually good. Now, I'll say this. He's athletic as hell, and that's how they're scoring these touchdowns, I feel like, at will. But, the perfect example of this is what we saw yesterday. He hits Alec Pierce for 44 yards and then throws the worst pass I've ever seen straight to the defender and interception in the red zone, in the end zone, really, like right on the goal line, basically. Like, does the little play action, tries to roll out, does a little shovel pass, and it's no power on it, nowhere near the wide receiver, just straight to the safety. It's hard to watch. I have to ask myself. I'm not answering it yet. I'm going to be honest with you. I think he's at least kind of fun to watch. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. I made a pretty stupid trade for Anthony Richardson last week in a super flex league. Someone came to me, hey, I've got Anthony Richardson. Give me Justin Fields and James Cook. And I was like, you know what? Like, I don't have any Anthony Richardson shares. This guy's awesome. And then so I get up my first Anthony Richardson share. So I'm watching him a bit more closely this week beyond just the athleticism. Just, all right, man, it is hard to watch Anthony Richardson play quarterback. I am not going to lie. It's fun. There's some fun plays. But, man, it is hard to watch. Hard to watch. The play call terrible. You could hit. Drew says that was a broken route. No, it wasn't. He was like he had 2 open wide receivers in the play. He decided to throw it in triple coverage to the one at the back of the end zone instead of the one on the sideline, right? Like, it was a bad decision and a bad throw. Like, it was literally like he just take it. It was like the ball was sideways. Like, it was literally like just take it from me type of pass, and that's why it was intercepted. And it was also a terrible decision, terrible play call. Actually, the play call was fine. He just had to make the right decision there and actually put some zip on that ball. You can't fit it in a window just going, eh. I mean, like, I don't know. It's just, he's hard to watch. So I'm just asking that right now. Is he actually good? The answer is probably yes, but it is, again, it's hard to watch him right now. I mean, through the 2 seasons now, I mean, only 7 games, but 55% completion percentage. Like, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I want to see a bit more from him. I'm going to be honest with you. Next takeaway, guys. This is what we were hoping for. We said it all offseason. All offseason, man. All I could do was say draft Rome Odunze. All I could do. And it might be wrong. And it was kind of slow to get here. But, man, am I going to go ahead and take this one opportunity where Rome Odunze has a huge game to talk about it. Because not only did Rome Odunze look incredible, really the Bears started to show some life in this game. And this is what we talked about, right? On our Start and Sit show, we said start DeAndre Swift, so that was a huge L. But we did say that this feels like the week that the Bears could get right. This Colts defense isn't that good. They should be able to figure it out. They still lose the game and still don't look great. But Caleb Williams, 33 of 52, 363 pass yards. That is awesome. Gets 2 touchdowns. But Rome Odunze, 11 targets, brings in 6 of them for 112 yards and a touchdown. Cole Kmet, 10 receptions, 97 yards and a touchdown. DJ Moore, 8 receptions for 78 yards off of 10 targets. This is what this offense should look like over the course of the year. And Rome Odunze, as mentioned all offseason, is going to be a big part of it. Again, friendship off the field leads to targets on the field. And we've seen the Caleb Williams, Rome Odunze, Bear Claw. We're hearing them hanging out, working together, all this stuff. We saw Rome Odunze's dad tweet out the routes that Rome Odunze was open on last week and everything. Like, Rome Odunze was always going to get fed at some point. Rome Odunze is awesome. He's a top 10 draft pick, and I felt like we were fading him way too much this offseason. It was kind of ridiculous. We knew at the very least with Keenan Allen that, maybe it might take some time, but then Keenan Allen doesn't even play right now. He's hurt. And that was always the case too. Like, you just got to get Rome Odunze if you can at his current value. I mean, like, this was a top 10 wide receiver going super, super late in drafts. I mean, it was like, oh, do you want Rome Odunze or do you want David Montgomery? And yeah, sure, David Montgomery's awesome, but it's Rome Odunze, guys. Like, come on. So anyway, Bears wide receiver, looking good, looking awesome, and I don't think that this is the end of it. I do think we're going to see a lot more games like this. If you guys remember, my take was that at worst, he's the wide receiver 2 on this team, and I think he could really outperform DJ Moore even in his rookie season. I think they both are going to be awesome producers this year, and I'm glad that Caleb Williams showed some life this week. Hopefully he can do it again next week against a tougher defense, but still, this is very, very encouraging. Liking that the Bears have started to found some life. And hey, DeAndre Swift, bad, awful, terrible. Just going to go ahead and say it. 13 carries, 20 yards. Roschon Johnson gets mixed in. Khalil Herbert gets mixed in. That's how I think it should be from now on. I wanted DeAndre Swift to be the main guy here, but he's not. So he's not good enough, unfortunately. I don't know what's going on. I don't. But hey, Roschon Johnson, some life back in the Roschon Johnson balloon. Let's go. Next takeaway we've got, is Sam Darnold actually good? Is Sam Darnold actually good? Here's his stat line so far through the season. Week 1, he was 19 of 24 for 208 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Against the Niners, he was 17 of 26 for 268 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And then this week against the Houston Texans, not a bad defense. 17 of 28, 181 yards, but 4 passing touchdowns with no interceptions. It was awesome. It was awesome to watch. And, I mean, he's delivering, right? 8 targets to Justin Jefferson, 6 to Aaron Jones, 4 to Jalen Naylor. Johnny Munt gets involved. He gets a touchdown, right? Aaron Jones, Justin Jefferson, Jalen Naylor, Johnny Munt all scored touchdowns. Justin Jefferson, 6 of 81 and a touchdown. Is Sam Darnold actually good? I guess so. But I think the answer is more so Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell is a really good head coach. Kevin O'Connell can scheme his quarterbacks. He can do it. He can do it. He needs to be put in the same vein as a Kyle Shanahan when it comes to his quarterbacks. I mean, we have seen it time and time again now. We saw it last year, Jaron Hall, Josh Dobbs, Nick Mullins. Now we're seeing signs of life from Sam Darnold. In fact, super signs of life. He's looking awesome, doing a really good job. And I'm starting to feel like he's going to do this all year. I've got to be honest with you. I thought at some point, Sam Darnold would turn back into Sam Darnold. We've seen him do this before, string together a few good performances, but I mean, he's doing this against good defenses now. And he's on the right system. He has the right weapons. He's looking good. It's impressive. It's honestly impressive. You got to take note. Sam Darnold. I mean, congratulations to everyone that like kind of took a chance on him heading into the season. I don't even know. Like, I don't think that you can buy Sam Darnold now. I've got to be honest. I don't think you could sell him either. But like, what are you gonna like? Are you really like? He probably costs a first now in Superflex, and I mean, are you really gonna give that? The answer is no. Right. So I think he's the definition of a hold for the people that got him heading into the year. Nothing you could really do about it anymore. But yeah, coaching matters in this situation. And I got to say, you got to buy JJ McCarthy. I do think that Sam Darnold, that's a very quiet winner of Sam Darnold's kind of relevancy right now. In dynasty leagues, go inquire about JJ McCarthy. See what that price is, because I mean, Sam Darnold playing really well. I'm very excited to see what J.J. McCarthy can do in this offense. I do think he's still going to be a good fit. You guys know it. I was very high on him before his injury, and he looked damn good in that preseason game as well. I mean, so that's the quiet winner here. Sam Darnold, the loud winner. J.J. McCarthy, the quiet winner, because Sam Darnold's not the Vikings quarterback next year, although he might be for a few games, depending on the severity of the injury, but probably not. So Sam Darnold, interesting prospect right now, playing really well. If you're competing right now, which you probably are if you have Sam Darnold, keep holding on to that bad boy. Interesting stuff. Next player, and I don't know, maybe too soon, because we still haven't seen Russell Wilson actually return from his injury. But I think I can finally victory lap Justin Fields. Because, I mean, talk about a lot of things I was high on this offseason, a lot of things I just wouldn't shut up about. Justin Fields was one of them. I would not shut up about how much Justin Fields would be the quarterback for the Steelers. I had no faith in Russell Wilson. I didn't know why anyone had any faith in Russell Wilson. Justin Fields is just too electric of a quarterback and fits the Arthur Smith system too well. And he's not even doing Justin Fields. Like, I don't even know what we're watching good Desmond Ridder, I think, is what, like, and I hate saying that right now, but I think that's what we're watching in Pittsburgh. I think that all that we were supposed to get from Desmond Ridder in Atlanta is just what Justin Fields is giving us. Give me 150 pass yards. Give me 30-something rush yards, maybe a couple touchdowns, but just don't turn the ball over. And that's all he's being asked to do, and he's excelling, actually. He's doing, 3-0. The dude's undefeated. How do you lose your job? How do you lose your job if you're undefeated and the guy behind you is Russell Wilson? I gotta say, guys, this was like my big flag plant this offseason was you got to get Justin Fields while you can, because he's going to be the starter and then he's going to be hard to acquire again. And I will say he's actually still easy-ish to acquire because he hasn't had the ceiling game. And I don't know if he'll ever have the ceiling game. I got to be honest. I'm starting to feel like that part of excitement is gone because, in this game, Justin Fields only had 6 rush yards. 6 carries for 6 yards. Like, that's not a regular old Justin Fields stat line. So it's just interesting what we're seeing from him. 25 of 32, 245 pass yards, 1 passing touchdown, 6 rush yards, and a rushing touchdown. That's like a Geno Smith stat line. That's not a Justin Fields stat line. So I am impressed by what he's put together so far. And I just don't even think this is the end of it. He's going to earn himself a contract extension here with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's going to be their franchise quarterback, and he's going to have some of these ceiling games. He's going to probably win a playoff game this year, guys. Like, it is wild. It is wild, and I'm just happy to see it. I think I can finally victory lap my Justin Fields take and say congratulations to everyone that heeded that advice, got him on your Superflex rosters, got him on your single quarterback rosters. He's startable. His rushing floor makes him startable, and he's doing it without even having to rush. Again, 78% completion percentage, 245 pass yards, and a passing touchdown. He's playing well, fitting well in the system. And this is a game that George Pickens only has 57 receiving yards. It was Calvin Austin in this game. Just fun to watch, guys. And it's only going to get more fun as the season goes along. We're going to have, again, he had 14 carries against the Falcons, but only 57 rush yards. Eventually, we'll have that 14 carry, 200 rush yard Justin Fields game, and I just can't wait. If you can still buy Justin Fields at a reasonable price, I think you have to do it. Justin Fields, guys, so much fun. So exciting. Steelers quarterback for the foreseeable future. What a guy. What a guy. Next, we'll go to another victory lap, and this is the avoidance of the Broncos backfield. This week, Tyler Beatty, 9 carries. Bo Nix, 9 carries. Jaleel McLaughlin, 5 carries for 7 yards and a touchdown. Javonte Williams, 5 carries for 12 yards. Awful. I don't care that Jaleel McLaughlin got a touchdown in this game. So far through the season, Javonte Williams has 24 carries for 52 yards. Jaleel McLaughlin has 18 carries for 40 yards. Bo Nix is the leading rusher. He has 18 carries, 107 yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. So, I mean, he's the best running back on the Broncos. And Tyler Beatty now has 10 carries for 86 yards. All offseason, I said, just don't. Just don't. Do not get a single Broncos running back. This was the only, avoid take I had, really. I'm not a big avoider. I'm really not. I think that everyone has the right value. But in the Broncos running back case, I said you want no part of it. It's going to be a committee, and it's going to be a bad committee because this offense is going to be bad. We saw this game, right? Even in this game, the Broncos were ahead the whole time. This should benefit the running backs, and it benefits fucking Tyler Beatty. What are we talking about here? So I'm just going to say I'm very glad I avoided this Broncos backfield. I don't know what you do with them. I'll be honest. I mean, if you can still get a third for any of them, I think you just do it. Maybe they'll be better next year, but I mean, Javonte Williams is going to be gone. They'll probably draft another running back. Audric Estime will return. It's just always going to be messy unless they draft someone high, but you just didn't want a piece of this backfield. I'm super glad I avoided it through 3 weeks. I know week 1, I was like, oh man, I wish I got Jaleel McLaughlin, but then week 2, he was nothing. This week, he scored a touchdown, and it was still a nothing. So I'm officially just back on I'm glad I avoided them. Rest in peace, Broncos running backs. Not good for fantasy. Get rid of them while you can. It's not going to be fun. They're not startable. They're just not startable. But you know who is startable? Chris Godwin, the slot god. He is just simply too good. He was the wide receiver 1 heading into this week, and it's not like he had a bad game. 6 receptions, 53 yards, and a touchdown, but Malik Nabers was just so good he overtook it. But Chris Godwin is still now the wide receiver 3 on the season, has a touchdown in 3 straight performances. The slot usage is incredible. Just continuously 8 or more targets in 3 straight games. 6 of 9, 7 of 8, 8 of 8, touchdowns in 3 straight games. Even in this game, right, the only person who scores a touchdown on the Broncos, or against the Broncos, Chris Godwin. Just a huge part of this game plan, right? Mike Evans only 17 yards, but Chris Godwin finds a way. This was one of the best values of the offseason. Just incredible. Just incredible. I would still say try to buy him in Dynasty. He's acquirable in Dynasty because of his age, but this is not going to stop. And again, I've been saying all season since he's been breaking out, we haven't even seen the ceiling yet. He's going to have a 2-touchdown, 100-yard game at some point. We've seen the 1-touchdown, 100-yard game. Now we'll get the 2-touchdown, 100-yard game at some point too. The ceiling is still on the table. Chris Godwin is a god, and he's playing so well right now. It's incredible. Chris Godwin, just simply too good. Every week starter, you got to lock him in. What a man. What a man, what a man, what a man. Chris Godwin, seriously, one of the best values of the offseason. Looking incredible. Wide receiver 3 so far on the season. Looking awesome. Huge return for him this season. And another player finally back is DeAndre Hopkins. This has been the one that has pained me so far the year because I was taking shots on the Titans everywhere, right? The Titans offense has been burning me. I was taking my Will Levis shots. I took Tony Pollard shots, so I'm happy about that. But I was also taking a lot of DeAndre Hopkins shots. I loved his value. Loved his value. But he picked up an injury. Hasn't really been involved so far this season. But then, this week, he's back. 6 of 7, 73 yards and a touchdown. That is the definition of a DeAndre Hopkins game, and it's awesome because Calvin Ridley only had 9 receiving yards. And I hope that this is going to be the case all year, right? I just want DeAndre Hopkins to be awesome all year, and I don't care what Calvin Ridley does. I want DeAndre Hopkins to be the man. This is a Hall of Fame wide receiver, and I just felt that all offseason his value was a little too cheap. And, of course, the injury played into that, but even heading into the injury, he was available in the 10th, 11th round. And I just felt it was ridiculous. I was drafting him everywhere I could. Unfortunately, because of the injury. I didn't start him this week in one of my dynasty leagues. I had him. Started him in the redraft leagues. I had him, of course. But, man, DeAndre Hopkins, he's back. You got to start him every single week now. Throw him in your flex. He's a man. He's the dude. He's a Hall of Famer. One of the best wide receivers we've ever seen. I'm surprised that we had so much disrespect to him heading into the season, but I'm glad he's put some respect on his name in 1 week. And he's still probably not even 100%, right? Like, he's still probably like 80, 90%, but he's just so good that it doesn't even matter. So he's just going to keep going. Just going to keep going. Get DeAndre Hopkins while you can. He's an every week starter going forward as well. Take the busts where you will because the booms will be awesome. DeAndre Hopkins is back, and it's awesome. And I see it in the chat. So before we get into this, I need to drink some water because my mouth is getting dry. Rest in peace, Bryce Young. Holy shit. Holy shit. 26 of 37, 319 yards, 3 touchdowns. Andy Dalton, on his first drive, scores a touchdown. Rough. That is about the absolute worst thing that could happen to Bryce Young. The first drive to go score a touchdown. There's now been 2 games that Bryce Young has been sat for Andy Dalton. This game, he threw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Last time, he threw for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. Andy Dalton is prolific in the offense that Bryce Young is the exact opposite. Bryce Young has been absolutely terrible. No way to mince words. And Andy Dalton has been electric when he's in there. The Panthers won this game, guys. I mean, 26 of 37, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. Chuba Hubbard, 21 carries, 114 yards. Miles Sanders, rushing touchdown. Deontay Johnson, 8 receptions for 122 yards and a touchdown. Chuba Hubbard, 5 receptions and a touchdown. Adam Thielen gets a touchdown. Xavier Legette gets 42 yards. Everyone gets involved. Tommy Tremble, Jonathan Mingo. Insane. Rest in peace, Bryce Young, is all I can say. I mean, like, what can you even do? For Andy Dalton to be this good in this same offense is not good news. That does not, I mean, like, I don't even know what the argument is, right? Like, oh, well, you know, I mean, the argument is this, right? The argument is that this is what they should have done last year. And that is true, right? They benched Bryce Young week 3 last year because of his injury. Andy Dalton came out there and he slung it. The season was already lost for the Panthers last year. They should have at that point been like, okay, Bryce, you know, we tried to throw you to the fire. It didn't work. Let's bench you. Watch Andy Dalton play quarterback. You look good, you know, understand it, you know, check this out. See what they've got going, you know, just watch Andy Dalton, hold the clipboard. That's what they should have done last year, but now it's year 2. Now you've killed his confidence. You've put him, probably made him develop some bad habits because he's struggling constantly. You killed him. The Panthers killed Bryce Young. They really did. Now, the story isn't over. I mean, all the reports, right? Like, you know, the Panthers declining trade offers. They still want him to be the quarterback of the future, you know? Like, this is just a temporary thing. It really doesn't matter. Clearly, Bryce Young is not an NFL quarterback so far, at least on this offense. He's just not. And it's going to take some time to fix that. It's going to take too much time to fix that. It's going to take a change of scenery. And it's seeming that he's not going to get that change of scenery because they don't want to move it. So I really think it's rest in peace for Bryce Young. I don't know. I mean, like, maybe an overreaction, but this is now 2 times we've seen it where Andy Dalton just looks prolific in Bryce Young's absence with the same exact team. The same exact team. That is super concerning. I see Chuka asking if it's sustainable. Yes and no. I mean, we just saw the Raiders beat the Ravens, right? We saw Lamar Jackson struggle against this team. It's a good defense. Andy Dalton did it last year too. I mean, like, will he have another 300-yard, 3-touchdown game next week? Probably not. But, I mean, he's still going to throw the ball 30-plus times. Still probably not going to turn it over. Still probably at least going to have a couple touchdowns. I mean, like, yeah. Like, Andy Dalton's probably going to be fine, you know, while he's the starter. I mean, like, that was a really good start. So, and he's only going to grow, right? Like, he's only going to, you know, build his connection even more with these players. So, I don't know when we see Bryce Young again. But if we do, he better play well. Because if he doesn't play well, it's definitely like, I don't know what they do. Like they've put themselves in such an impossible situation. They should have done this last year. Better late than never, right? Like better late than never. But man, if I'm Bryce Young, I'm just so depressed right now. Like, I don't even know. Like, again, the first drive, Andy Dalton went down there on the first drive and had a touchdown. No turnovers, 3 touchdowns, over 300 yards. It's awful. It's just awful. So anyway. The King is back, though. The King is back. King Henry, baby. Let's go. 25 carries, 150 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Also has a reception for 23 yards. The King is back. This is what we're hoping for. Now, I do want to add, this is not sustainable. This is one of those that it's not sustainable. Next week, Derrick Henry's probably going to have 12 carries, right? But this is what they said, right? Like, there are going to be games where Derrick Henry gets the rock. And it's just awesome to actually see it. So, you've seen it now. The King is the King. Don't disrespect him. It could come out of nowhere. And it's awesome. 25 carries, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns. The King is back. That's really all I can say. I just love Derrick Henry. He's awesome. He looked some of those runs. Like, he's still, I don't understand how Derrick Henry is as good as he is. Like, it's like, it literally looks like he's playing against high schoolers sometimes. Like, he's just incredible, guys. He's just incredible. I'm glad he's back. Derrick Henry and DeAndre Hopkins coming back in the same week. Let's go. Let's go. I mean, come on, man. That is awesome. That is just awesome. I love Derrick Henry. I love Derrick Henry. So much fun to watch. He's back. Every week starter. You can't bench this guy. You can't bench this guy. Don't even trade him. Don't even trade him. This is a great fit for him on Baltimore. We'll see more of these. And he's still going to score touchdowns even on the games that he doesn't have a lot of usage. Derrick Henry. Let's go. And hey, guys, while you're watching this, if you're liking it so far, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Let's move on now to the new Randy Moss. No, hold on. Could you imagine what he actually did to other high schoolers? I need to see Derrick Henry high school highlights. Holy shit. Also, I want to imagine, like, I want to see Derrick Henry go up against a college even. That'd be so funny. He's huge. He is so huge. My God. Anyway, the new Randy Moss, guys. This was incredible. Jauan Jennings, who saw this coming? 12 targets, 11 receptions, 175 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And you want to hear the funny part? If you go to if you just look at scoring. Look up right now, top fantasy football scores 2024. Click on the wide receiver button at Fantasy Pros. And we have a new wide receiver 1 in standard leagues. Jauan Jennings is the wide receiver 1 in standard leagues right now because of this performance. Yes, we're early in the season, and that's not sustainable. But is that not the absolute funniest thing? I shit you not. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to show you. I can't type. Sorry, guys, I can't type. Top fantasy scores 2024. Go to the Fantasy Pros. It's insane. It's actually insane. I'm sharing my screen. Look at this. Look at this, guys. Wide receiver 1. 35.5 points. It's only by 0.1. In fact, it's so close. Justin Jefferson, 45.3. Malik Nabers, 45.5. Jauan Jennings, 45.6. But, oh my God. Jauan Jennings is the wide receiver 1 in fantasy right now. 175 yards and 3 touchdowns off of 12 targets. Brandon Ayuk in this game, 5 receptions, 48 yards, no touchdowns. It just shows what a role player can do in this offense, right? Like, it doesn't matter who you are. If you're Jauan Jennings, you could be Randy Moss for a day. It's incredible. Every week starter while Deebo Samuel is out, while Brandon Ayuk is becoming Brandon Ayuk. Now, I will say George Kittle will probably be back next week, but still, yeah, he should have been Super Bowl MVP. This is a player archetype, right? And this is going to sound bad when I say this, but like Jauan Jennings is my Jaden Reed comp. And I know that doesn't sound great because Jauan Jennings has always been like a guy just on the waiver wire that fills in every once in a while. But Jaden Reed is on the Packers, right? Like, he's better, like, and more athletic. But like, just a player that always shows up. You know what I mean? Just always shows up, always gets those chunk plays, always for some reason isn't covered as well. Like, just, he's one of those players. He just shows up, and it's awesome to see. So I love it. The Jauan Jennings game, he's not going to have another 3-touchdown 175er, but he'll probably still get like 60 yards and a touchdown next week while Debo's out. Jauan Jennings, guys, what a stud. What a stud. And, man, Travis Kelce, what do we do about Travis Kelce? What do we do about Travis Kelce? He has, I think the cliff has come. I mean, this was always the case, right? Like, we talked about it at the beginning of the season. He was he was picked by me. That's not a vote. That's not a vote at all. But he was picked by me to be the bust of the year at tight end. And so far it's playing out that way. My reasoning was I felt like the Chiefs would kind of just coast him through the year to make sure he's healthy for the playoffs. And that's kind of what we're watching. So I'm sure Travis Kelce could start to look a lot better towards the end of the year. But it has been a disappointing first 3 weeks of the season for Travis Kelce. And that's to say the least. Week 1, 4 targets, 3 receptions, 34 yards. Week 2, 3 targets, 1 reception, 5 yards. And this week, 5 targets, 4 receptions, 30 yards. Had a pretty bad drop as well. Especially when you're watching Rashee Rice get the usage he is. I mean, Rashee Rice is the new Travis Kelce. 12 targets, 110 yards, and a touchdown for Rashee Rice in this game. Travis Kelce, 69 yards through 3 games. Nice. But not good for fantasy football. And I'm not sure it's going to get much better. I will say this, don't sell Travis Kelce. Keep starting Travis Kelce. I mean, at some point, he'll probably be Travis Kelce. But you have to be concerned. You have to be. I am. I'm panicking. But you can't sell him. What are you going to get for Travis Kelce? Dalton Schultz? Maybe Dallas Goedert. That could be an interesting one after Dallas Goedert's monster performance with the injuries falling his way. That could be an interesting pivot. Maybe TJ Hawkinson, someone that's not scoring points. Man, I don't know. Not looking good. Not looking good. Not looking good. Absolutely terrible. Hopefully he turns it around. Like I said, the thinking was always that he would be coasted through the year and then show up in the playoffs. Maybe fantasy playoffs, hopefully. I still think you got to keep starting him. I think you've got to keep holding on to him. But yeah, for now, I mean, Father Time remains undefeated. He's not looking like Travis Kelce. He's not getting much separation. He's dropping catches he normally makes. He's not breaking tackles the way he normally does. And the Chiefs are flat out not targeting him. I don't think it's that the Chiefs don't trust him anymore. It's just, to me, again, I just think it's because they want to coast him through the season. They want to make sure he stays healthy. But yeah, big concerns for Travis Kelce. The Chiefs care more about the Super Bowl than they care about stats. We've always known it. But we would at least hope Travis Kelce would get 6 targets a game. I mean, is that so much to ask? I mean, we're getting targets sent to Noah Gray, Justin Watson, like Juju Smith-Schuster. They just give it to Kelce. I don't know. It's concerning. But anyway, that should do it for the takeaways for players. But I just need to rant about my Atlanta Falcons. What are we doing? That game was in the Falcons' hands. It was there. I liked the original 4th call, 4th and down, 4th and 2, right? You go for it, you get it. But then when it's 4th and 5, right at the goal, like right in the goal line, like on the 7, just kick that field goal. Just take the points. You're playing the Chiefs. There's still 5 minutes left on the clock. You still had all 3 timeouts. Just take the points. The defense was playing so well. And then to go for it on 4th down and call an outside run, and your lead blocker, Tyler Algier, can't block, go back and watch that play. I encourage you all to go back and watch that play. I would love to live stream it, but every time I play a video on this show, I get copyright stricken and the video gets demonetized, and I'm tired of it. But on that play, Tyler Algier is the lead blocker, and he doesn't even block. He runs straight into his lineman. He runs into 2 linemen who are already blocking people and just lets that gap completely open for the linebacker to come through and tackle Bijan Robinson. Bad play call to begin with, but then terrible execution. It might have worked if Tyler Algier could block. Disappointing. Just disappointing. And give Kyle Pitts the ball some more. We saw it. We saw the 50-yard catch. We saw the 50-yard catch. Why is that not happening more? Why are they not scheming those plays? Why are they just using him right next to the line of scrimmage every once in a while? I'll say there were a couple plays taken back from penalties, which just seems to always be the case with Kyle Pitts, which is really starting to piss me off. There was like an offsides call where he was clearly about to get a touchdown if the play even happened. Like they used him in motion, and then he was like the second he got set, he was zipping up the field. He had pass interference in the end zone, right? That should have been would have been a touchdown if it wasn't pass interference. Although I will say, good tight ends make that catch. I love Kyle Pitts, but good tight ends make that catch. That's a NFL tight end catch. And I know he's a glorified wide receiver or a glorified tight end, receiving tight end. I don't know what you want to call him. But still, so many things went against him. Like, I don't know. Like, when are we going to get him? Like, I saw Theo tweet this out yesterday. Like, Zach Robinson is not the play calling guru that he was advertised to be. It's not very creative what's going on in Atlanta. And maybe it's Kirk Cousins' Achilles. I'm not really sure. But, like, it is not a creative offense yet. It's a good offense. It's fun to watch. Like, we're watching it, right? I mean, like, Darnell Mooney, he's exciting. Like, it's very cool seeing the Darnell Mooney usage. He's looking awesome, right? Ray McLeod, he's getting open. Bijan Robinson's looking like Bijan Robinson, but not quite getting as many catches. I don't know. Something's not quite right. And yes, this is a huge learning opportunity. I mean, it's awesome for the Falcons to lose to the Chiefs by a score and have them with like twice now within like winning reach in this game. And like maybe Raheem Morris can learn from this, be like, all right, next time we just kick the field goal. If you're playing the Super Bowl champs, you have to take the points. It is so hard to get points against the Chiefs. It would have been not just a one-score game, but it would have made it a field goal would win the game. I do agree with this. The Falcons are not running enough plays. They are like getting lots of these 10, 15-yard plays every time, it seems, which is interesting. And it's quick. It's quick. It's interesting. The games are short, too. It's interesting. The Falcons are very interesting this year. It is a total difference from last year. Super creative, super long, lots of plays ran because they ran the ball all the time. This year, not running a lot of plays, not very creative. I don't know, but I'm just starting. I liked the Eagles win. That was obviously fun. But I'm starting to get concerned about some of the stuff I was getting excited about for the Falcons, to be honest with you. The play calling isn't as exciting as it should have been. And this is looking like a defensive team, which is not what I wanted. I wanted fireworks, and we're not getting them. But we're getting there, right? It's still only week 3. We'll see how they look towards the end of the year. But they should have won this game. They really should have won this game. They really should have. So just had to rant about that real quick. But that should do it, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. I do see a couple questions in the chat. Is the sense of Arthur Smith lingering? Yeah. Dallas Goedert, the new Travis Kelce, maybe for a couple weeks. What do we do with Mandrews? You hold on to him. Just traded for Ayuk. With Mandrews, not only do you hold on to him, you keep starting that bad boy. He's Mandrews. And no, you didn't want T. Higgins for him. Trust me, you didn't want T. Higgins for him. You're not worried about it. You're chilling. Sorry you traded for Ayuk, Gavin. It'll be fine, though. He's just starting out slow since he wasn't at training camp. And I didn't really see any other questions too much. Yeah, that should do it. Guys. Wow. Oh, wait. Do you hold on to Jacoby Myers? No. If you can get a third for him, just do it. Just do it. Thanks, guys. This was fun. As always, thank you all so much for tuning in to Wake and Take. This was another fun episode, and you guys were another great audience. As always, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe, and make sure you find the Wake and Take podcast via the link in the description. Make sure you tune in tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, for some waiver wire advice and all that fun stuff. We will be here for some more Wake and Take. You all have a magnificent Monday. May all your Monday night miracles come true, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace. From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to PlayerProfiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, Data Analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.